I hear a voice, and it's Woody. He comes like, Hayden. And I'm like, Woody Harrelson's talking. He said my name 3 times.
Like and
I'm like, and then the first thing I said, Woody Harrelson, I'm such a big fan of yours. I'm like, shit.
How's it going, everybody? It is time for the one-on-one with Kristian Harloff show, and thank you to everybody who's been watching. Great guests so far. We've had Dan Fogler, Clancy Brown, and now this week we have on actor Hayden Szeto. If you don't maybe know right away, well, who is Hayden Szeto? He was in the movie Edge of 17 and arguably was the biggest standout from that film, because I remember seeing the movie going, well, who the hell is this kid? And then when we saw Truth or Dare, you see my review, I didn't really love Truth or Dare, but what I did love, Hayden Szeto. Again, I thought there was a lot of development to his character, who he was. We talk about all that stuff. And I'm not lying to you when I tell you this is one of my favorite interviews that I have done in general in this space, whether it's here or the Harloff podcast that I did or stuff I did on Fandango. This was a dude who just opened up, was honest, hardworking, and it was really cool. I didn't know anything about him. I didn't know what kind of interview it was going to be going into it, and I just wanted to learn more about kind of where he came from, his experience on Edge of 17 and how he got that, how he essentially kind of hit the lotto and how hard he was working as an actor, and then what happened to him when he got the role, something that he had gone through in his life and his family that he was going through on the first day, and then he had that conversation with the director and the producer, and it's a great story, and the dude just really opened up. So I hope you enjoyed listening or watching this episode as much as I enjoyed doing it. So check that out, and as always, if you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment, put a like, but subscribe to the iTunes feed or the Apple Podcast feed, as well as if you're on Android, go on over to the Podcast One app, go over there, rate, comment, do all that stuff, because that's how these shows keep getting made and I keep getting guests like this. It was a lot of fun. Please enjoy Hayden Szeto. Here you go. All right, welcome back to One-on-One with Kristian Harloff, and today I am joined by actor Hayden Szeto. Hayden, nice to have you, man.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, here's the thing that's funny is that, so Wendy Lee, who you guys know from Collider Movie Talk and from Girls Night here, and she helps. Without Wendy, this office doesn't work. I wouldn't be able to do anything if it wasn't for Wendy. So how did you guys meet, by the way?
We were doing a commercial, like an indie commercial, I think. It wasn't even union.
Oh, okay.
Like 4 or 5 years ago for a Japanese shampoo brand.
Right. What was the brand?
I never even saw the commercial. Wendy's seen it. I haven't seen it. She's trying to find it right now. Right. It was shot in Little Tokyo. Okay. It's called the Arts District. It's what it's called. Okay. Something like that, where all the lanterns are. Anyways.
Right. It's the Lantern District.
I played the guy who was just, hit by a heat wave. Right. He's like checking out the sushi or something. I don't remember. But that's how we met.
And you needed a shampoo.
Yeah, she was in it doing something. Right. I forgot what she was indoors and I was outdoors is what I remember.
And you guys just sort of chatted it up behind the scenes.
Yeah. And we had a mutual friend at the time too, and that was fun times.
Yeah, but she reached out to me because I started. I did a show for a while on my old network, just as at the time, just off my name, the Harloff Podcast, and I would sit down and talk to people. But once I brought it over to Collider, I wanted to sit down with everybody, and she had mentioned you, and I loved what you did. And we'll talk about it in Edge of 17. Mm. We're definitely going to talk about that for sure. And then I went and we just saw Truth or Dare. Now, I'm going to be honest with you straight over the top here, that those movies normally, that type of movie, not for me. But and this is not with you sitting here, you not sitting here. You were the most interesting person in that entire film.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
I thought that they gave the character a lot to do, and it was there was so much more. I felt like when I go away from that movie, on the negative side, it's like I've seen that movie a billion times. What I have not seen is the way that they handled your character inside of that type of situation. So is that kind of why maybe you decided to do the role in the first place?
Absolutely. Okay. Like yourself, it's not my type of a scary movie either. But to be able to work with a brand like Blumhouse, right, and the way that Brad Chang was written, I felt like I'm like, wow. Usually these kind of movies don't have characters with that many dimensions. So I have more reasons to say yes than no.
Sure.
So yeah, that's one of the main reasons why I did it, is because it dealt with such a complicated storyline within a movie that's aimed for a younger audience. It's meant for fun.
Yeah.
And it's not to talk about any social dynamics or anything, but it was cool that they had that in there, and it's what attracted me.
Well, it worked, and I think that was the thing to me again, and even in our review, and I was the Hayden's the one to me. You did that twice now. You did that twice because I didn't know who the hell you were when I saw Edge of 17. I'm like, who's that guy? And that's kind of what happened with the director at the first place too. You walk in there, and from what I hear is you got the job pretty quick.
First person cast.
Look at that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that one, there's no way you expect that.
No, no way in hell that I expect that. It's just from years and years and years and years of struggling as an actor, and I guess I cherish every opportunity that I get, and I try to do my best work every single time, and I'm used to doing my best work and also not getting a call.
Sure.
And I think I was at a point in my life in Edge of 17 when I was just 2 weeks away from having my visa taken away from me, from expiring, going back to Vancouver, where I'm from. Yeah. And I was ready to, hang up the gloves, man. I was really was ready to just, go back to Vancouver and maybe figure it out there.
And do something else.
Yeah, and do something, or pursue it over there. But my dreams were always in LA and in America, with the heart of where Hollywood is.
It kicks your ass, though. It really
it whooped my ass for so many years.
Yeah.
And
I was a stand-up comic for a very long time, so I get it.
See, I applaud stand-up comedians so much more than actors, because you guys have immediate feedback.
Right. It's the truth.
We put it into post-production, and there's so many hands on deck, whereas a stand-up comedian is just you, right? Literally, just.
They'll tell you, and you'll get all the notes from the producers right away. Yeah, I had a story that I told one time. It was the only time, and I'll never do it again. It was the only time I ever went on set at the Comedy Store. Was like my home. It's where I went there every night. Yeah. And only time I ever did it, I went up Stone one time. And I never did it again because I went up there. Normally I had very high energy, and I was like, but I was laid back, and I was just like, I was kind of like looking around, and so these people are in the front row, and this one woman, she goes to the bathroom, and she comes back, she's like, her husband says, well, how's this guy? And she's the other way around, and she goes, in the middle, and I'm like, oh, well, that's great. And then I'm going into it, and then this one guy starts telling me, as in the middle of it, I'm going through it, and he goes, tell a black joke, dog. Tell a black joke. And I go, no. He goes, why? And I go, because I don't want to. And then someone in the back screams, leave him alone. right then and there, I knew, I'm scrapping, and no more weed.
Treated like a zoo animal.
But that's the same, and you guys though too, for what you guys do. I mean, like you said, you go and you do your best work. Yeah. And you come out and you don't get the gig.
Exactly.
It's a gut punch.
It's a gut punch because the showbiz, there's something about, just being on stage like a stand-up comedian, everybody's facing you. It's so symbolic of what it is. Right. And you're so vulnerable. Everyone's sitting in a chair facing one direction, and you're standing elevated facing their direction, and you're supposed to entertain them. Sure. And when you don't, they feel like they have the right to, just trash you. Yeah. And it's scary. It's scary, and you don't get treated like a real person,
right? Because they will, to them, and a lot of these casting or whatever too. They see all these actors, all different shapes, all different sizes. So until the person comes in that they want, like you said, it's just to them, it's a work day. That person's not right. Get the hell out of here, and they don't even realize that they're making you feel like garbage. And it's like, good. Thank you. And when you go that quick, and like you said, though, you could have the best one, think it was the best, and to them, it's not what they're looking for.
Exactly.
And it kicks your face in. So you're ready to leave. You're ready to go back home. Yeah. And then you get the call.
Well, it was the last audition that I did before I left. My manager sent me an untitled James L. Brooks project. Okay. James L. Brooks sure sounds good. And he's like, you have an audition tomorrow at the Fox slot. Do you want to go? And I'm like, yeah, I guess, Right. And I went, and it's just like always. I do my work, and they laugh and they say, "Very good job," and they say thank you, and you leave. It's just a traditional audition. Nothing felt special about it.
Just reading the lines.
Just reading the lines. Yeah. And then I got to my car, and I got a call from I think it was Melissa Kostenbauer, the casting director, saying that, "Hey, can you come back tomorrow?" I'm like, okay. And I came back the next day, and I met Kelly Freeman Craig, our director.
Yeah. And so she saw the tape and just like,
she saw a tape. Yeah. She was reading with me the next day.
Oh, wow.
And Julie Ansel was also in the room, one of the producers, and Melissa was in there. Read with me again, and again, it was just the exact same read, and thank you, and good meeting you.
Right.
And then for like another week, I didn't hear anything, and then
do you think that you have it at that point still?
I'm so used to not having it,
right?
that I'm more ready for. I expect more no's than yes.
But it doesn't creep in your head like, but with the what if, or you're just like,
always.
At this point,
of course, always.
Sure.
And then you're like, nah, just not think about it.
Why am I messing with myself?
Yeah. You just let it go. You throw away the sides after you're just done. You try to let it go because you can't, like, it weighs down on you mentally.
Sure.
So you just try. You have to always let it go as an actor. And a week from me, I was literally in my room packing my bags, and then my manager calls me and says, "Oh, you're the choice for Edge of 17." I'm like,
you got it. That's it.
I'm like, weird wording. I'm like, what does that mean? Is there a contract? Do I need to sign anything?
What's the choice?
What does it mean that I'm the choice? Am I one of the many choices, or am I the choice? What does it mean? He's like, okay. He's like, okay, Hayden, relax. Right. Okay, so at this point, I'm like, don't play with my feelings. I'm about to go home.
Sure, because this is like the biggest role of your life.
Yeah, it's my breakout role.
Yeah,
and he's like, okay, listen, they don't even have all the money yet. They don't even have their DP. They don't even have their lead actress yet, but they like you a lot.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, where are they shooting? In Vancouver.
Oh, wow.
Where I'm going anyways.
Right.
And and then a week after that, I was so close to going home, and then I got the part. And they sent me a contract to sign to show Department of Homeland Security to allow me one exit from the country and one re-entry. And on that day, Deadline came out with a article in the same week, not the day, in the same week, with Hailee Steinfeld attached, Woody Harrelson attached. Kira Sedgwick,
and you hadn't heard any of these names even floating.
No, and I wasn't. And I was in the same sentence as them, and on Deadline, and it was my first Deadline article.
Wow!
And
you frame it.
I should.
Yeah,
I really should.
I would.
I totally should.
Yeah.
And I from that article, I used that and I sent it to my immigration lawyer, and we applied for my green card.
Right. Guy was a Cheers fan and said, "I'm in."
Yeah, exactly. And my immigration lawyer is like, "This is great."
Yeah,
having Hailee Steinfeld, Woody Harrelson in the same sentence as you.
Right. Because now you're not an actor that just says, "But I have a movie I have to."
Yeah, exactly. Shoot. There's evidence now.
Right.
And so I left to Vancouver to shoot for 3 months, from October to December.
Okay.
And we finished in December, and on the day of wrapping. My immigration lawyer tells me that my green card got approved.
Oh, wow.
It was everything just worked out.
Man. That just moved
at the last second.
Right. So,
okay,
but I'm not going to let you. You got to tell me what happens there, because like you said, you get the role. You are the first person cast. You get the Deadline thing. Everything seems to be moving there. But then the first day on set to me has to be like, wow, because like you said, you've been acting for a bit, and you're an actor, but like this is your first big movie.
For sure.
So you get on set there,
cold feet.
What's that like? Where do you check in? Who do you see? Like, how do they treat you when you get there?
Well, I mean, the set. I mean, it's quite similar to all the sets I've been on that I had the privilege of working on before then, but it was clearly. the trailer was much bigger.
Yeah.
They had transport just for every single actor on set, which I wasn't used to. I'm like, oh, why can't we all just sit in the same car?
Right.
Why do we all have our own black SUV? And
right.
They treated me very well. Let's just say that. And I was not used to the scope of it, if you will. And I do remember, now heading into the performance of like performing on a set of that scale. It's like. It's like if you've been playing basketball on the playground forever and you're like, I can play pro ball,
right.
Just, suit me up, coach. Right. Just let me get in there. And once you're playing on a real court,
right.
you're like, oh shit.
Right.
Oh shit, I'm playing basketball. Oh my God, how's the ball feel? I forgot is this how a ball really, is this the game ball? It feels weird. It took me.
But with that though, you say that you make that analogy, very similar to but now you're also playing with other pros here. So,
exactly.
That elevates your game.
Exactly. And what's cool about playing with other pros is to watch them mess up.
Yeah.
And watch.
That's got to help your confidence.
Oh, for sure. And demystify them immediately, and it helped me a lot. It's like
is Woody just like super intimidating when you first see him, and then he just gets out of the car and the smoke follows him along with him.
It's funny when you show up to set, you know exactly which trailer is Woody Harrelson's by how it looks and how it smells. Sure. I'm just kidding. Not by how it smells. He wasn't smoking when I met him.
Right. Well, was it legal then? Whatever.
Right. Whatever.
It doesn't matter.
And Vancouver's got some good stuff.
Right.
Woody, I gotta give him major props. On the first day, I was shooting the classroom scene with. The first day I met Woody, it wasn't my first day working, but the first day that I had Woody Harrelson in my vicinity was a classroom scene with Hailee Stenfield, and he plays our teacher, Mr. Bruner, and I remember just. He has this dialogue with Hailee, and then she sits down with me, and then we start our dialogue. So technically, I don't have a scene with him, but he's in the room.
Right.
And I remember he shot his scene, and then he just sits there and watches Hailee and I just run our lines. And I remember in my my periphery just looking, I'm like, Woody Harrelson's watching me act. Right. Holy shit. I was like sweating from my nose and my scalp. I remember I was like, oh my God, makeup is going to be so angry. But Woody Harrelson's watching me right now. And I remember him watching, and he'll like chuckle at our scene. Sure. And I remember right after that rehearsal, one of the crew members tells us, "Oh, your green room is this way. Just your chairs are here." And so I was like, "Do I say hi to him now, or do I wait until we get back to the green room?"
You hadn't really talked to him yet.
I haven't talked to him. I haven't introduced myself. So I'm like, "Do I talk to him now? Should I say hi, Woody?" But I'm like, "No, I'm not going to say that because we're moving. We're walking to a different location. I'll run there first." So I actually power walked to the green room. I'm like, so I'm gonna. Prepare myself as he walks in and be like, Woody Harrelson, big fan. I'm like, no, don't say that. Everybody says that to him. So I have to say something different. I don't know what to say. I was like, as I'm thinking about this, I hear a voice, and it's Woody. He comes like, Hayden. I'm like, Woody Harrelson's talking. He said my name 3 times.
And
I'm like, and then the first thing I said, Woody Harrelson, I'm such a big fan of yours. I'm like, shit.
Back into it.
I went right back into it. I just wasn't functioning. I was so starstruck. And he's like, I've been looking forward to meet you. I wanted to meet who was going to play Erwin. And I gotta say, you're doing a really, 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 really good job. And Jim has been saying really good things about you. And I was just, my mouth was just
that's cool, man,
hanging open. And he really made an effort to, like I said, to demystify himself.
Yeah, and he didn't have to.
He didn't have to. Like he made it all about me, and he knew that everybody likes talking about themselves. I'm like, I see what you're doing, Woody. But it worked, and he before you know it, he was showing me pictures from set from LBJ that he was just shooting, and he was telling me about how excited he was to work on Planet of the Apes. And I'm like, oh my God, have you ever met Andy Serkis? He's like, I've never met Andy Serkis. I'm like, you must be geeking out. He's like, I'm geeking out. I'm like, so we geeked out over Andy Serkis, and we bonded over that.
He's my favorite actor, by the way, Andy Serkis.
He's incredible. I've
had the chance to sit down and talk to him a couple of times. He's the sweetest individual. Have you met him yet?
No, I've watched all his interviews though.
He is the sweetest individual you will ever meet
I
ever.
bet.
I love Andy Serkis. Sorry, I don't mean to take
I
away from
bet.
your story.
Yeah.
So Woody is he's encouraging to you. You guys are geeking out over Andy Serkis. But one of the things that I actually found fascinating about that whole story was that sometimes with these movies, every director has a different process, obviously. But so the first thing though is that you guys didn't do like table reads together before?
We did a table read, but there was no chemistry read.
There was no chemistry read.
Yeah, so I just had that the two auditions, the audition and the callback, and that. So
because that chemistry though, you said there's no chemistry read. Like that's what the whole movie is with the two of you.
Yeah, I guess I did. It was the roll of the dice. I did well enough to convince them that I guess I didn't need one, and I don't think Erwin was supposed to be that big of a character as to elicit a chemistry read. I guess Kelly Farine Craig just had faith that it worked.
Did it evolve more because your performance was so good? Did they write more stuff, or was your role always the way it was? Because you have a dominant role in that film. I mean, because the chemistry. You would think because of ultimately, I guess it's because of what you guys put on screen. But
right.
When you look at it, you would assume that it would be dependent because you guys have to have that relationship, especially the awkward try for the kiss and all that stuff.
Well, I would say like the going back to getting on set and playing ball for the first time with real pros. I had cold feet first day on set. We shot the last scene of the movie, the climax of the movie. First day for me with me and Hailee, the last scene in the quad, and I remember just feeling so freaking wooden in my performance. I just can't. I feel like I'm not there.
Why? Why is that?
I was going through a lot at the time.
Took it with you into the job.
Yeah, I totally did. And my grandma just passed away, and I was dealing with that, and I was dealing with not being able to process that I'm here. And not believing that I'm like, did they make a mistake?
Like self-sabotage.
Yeah,
almost?
I'm self-sabotaging. Yeah. I'm like, I can't.
Do you do that normally, or is that just that particular?
It was that moment of like so much excitement and also so much self-doubt at the same time that I just froze, and I couldn't access who I was. Right. I was just this puppet. And I'm like, okay, well, nobody's saying anything to me, so I guess I'm doing okay. Maybe it's all in my head.
Is that from all the stuff that we were just talking about, like the auditions, like the constant
exactly
no, and then you're like, how could this be real?
How can this be real? Yeah. And I was having an outer body experience, and so I thought I wasn't. Maybe it was all in my head. And when lunch rolled around, I remember Kelly called me and was like, "Hey, can you come back to set briefly, just with me and Jim? We want to talk to you about the next scene." I'm like, sounds sketchy.
Yeah.
And I went and we went inside this room, and it was just Jim and Kelly, and I knew. I'm like, it felt like going to the principal's office.
Sure.
I'm like, oh shit.
They should have done it in school, like in the principal's office.
Oh, they should have, huh? Yeah. They should have. And I'm like, oh god, here we go. And I remember Kelly, the first thing she said to me was, Hayden, do you feel like sometimes, you have the character and then it leaves you and you don't know how to get him back? And then in my head, my defensive mind at the time, being vulnerable and everything, I was just like, what I heard was, Hayden, do you feel like you suck sometimes? And sometimes you suck less and sometimes you suck more.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, shit. And
how do you answer that when they ask you that?
When they asked me that, I'm like, in my head, I remember being quiet for like several beats, and I was like, Hayden, you need to. This is a group effort, and you need to be honest with your teammates.
Yeah.
And I just laid it out. I'm like, this is what's happening to me. I just lost my grandma. I can't believe I'm here. Yeah. I just can't function. There's just so much going on in my head and in my heart, and I can't access what I need to access to give you what you want. And Kelly sat down and was like, look, Hayden, I'm freaking out too. This is my first film as well. Like it's okay. It's okay. And so how can we help you? How can I help you? Sure. And then I'm like, I don't know. And I started crying. And I'm like, God damn it, Hayden, now you're crying.
But that creates more of a bond.
Yeah, yeah. Right? And I'm like, oh my God. And there was a part of me was like, God damn it, Hayden. You're supposed to say that you're not feeling all these things, and you just say, oh, I'm just having a rough day.
Right.
And I'll do better, coach. But I didn't. I was completely honest with her.
I bet she fell in love with you even more with it.
They were extremely receptive.
I'm telling you, they had to, because especially from what the character.
For sure. And I remember James L. Brooks was just watching this interaction happen, and he's like, Hayden, I want to show you something. And it's so dramatic. Yeah. And he goes on a walkie, and he's like, bring it in. And I'm like, bring what in? What's happening? It's like a machete.
And then shot behind the shed.
Exactly.
We need a new
firing squad.
Yeah, we need a new Erwin.
Oh God. And his assistant comes in with an iPad, and I'm like, oh God, what is this? And he's like, Hayden, I want to show you something. I'm like, oh God, what are you going to show me? He opens the iPad, turns it to me, and it's a thumbnail of me sitting on the audition couch with a play button in the middle. I'm like, it's a video of my audition tape. Right. And he's like, this is your audition tape. I'm like, I can see that. And he's like, I want to show you just this tape. We're going to watch it together. And we watched it, and it was so awkward. I can't watch myself anyways. Mm-hmm. Just to watch it with the director and our producer, a legendary producer, mind you, and I'm just watching, and they're laughing at the performance. They're loving it, and I'm just sitting there clutching a pillow, teary-eyed, and just watching this, and just like I remember being so tense, my arms were shaking. Sure. And after the video ends, Jim looks at me. He's like, "Do you remember this guy?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I think I know him. Yeah." He's in here somewhere, and he's like this. He's like, I've been in the business for a long time, and I know when an actor has found their voice or their mirror. This is your mirror, and I want the audition. Yeah. This is who you are, and this is who you should bring to every performance you ever do from here on out. I remember when he said that to me, it really, really just hit me right in the heart.
It's like Pacino on Any Given Sunday.
Yeah. It totally. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And he's like, and so now what do you need, Hayden? I'm like, give me just a little bit of time and space, I guess. And he's like, the scene's ready for you. Take as much time as you need. And he cleared the room, and he's like, we'll be outside when you're ready.
So how does that work? So then they just let you get in your headspace. It's kind of like you like almost like meditating to get into Erwin mode. Yeah. And then you come out and you're Erwin, or you're like, I'm ready to go. Like, or a little bit.
Yeah, it was just me just accepting all of this. Like I admitting that I am nervous.
Right.
And accepting that I'm upset.
Sure.
And that it's okay to give my permission to get over it. I think that was mainly, I remember just like kneeling on the ground when they left the room and by myself. And I just took a deep breath. I went back out, and we shot this scene where I pick up the phone and I say hello to Hailee for the first time. And my character gets caught off guard that it's her calling me. Mm-hmm. And that scene was completely improvised. And I was going through a shit ton of emotions during that scene, and they kept that scene in the movie, and it was like one of the funniest scenes that people remember. Is Erwin picking up the phone. The line was hello, but they kept the camera rolling, so I just kept improvising with myself on the phone.
Right.
And I remember after that take, Kelly takes my hand, pulls me into the room next door, and she's like, "Welcome back." And, that's the day that I felt alive again on set. And I was a completely different animal because of them.
But that story you just told me is the reason that movie worked. And I'll tell you, in my personal opinion, because when you hear of a producer and a director that care that much and that will work with someone that much and will... And not just that much to where it's not like you obviously were in a problem. They knew that you had it in you, and they knew that from hiring you right away and heard people have the conversation. That to me is like, not only did you say you got lucky with the process, you got lucky that you got that kind of team right away.
Yes, absolutely.
And so, like, hearing that's fascinating, and it makes me, because I love the movie when I saw it, because it's funny, because when I saw the trailer, I'm a big Woody Harrelson fan myself. So seeing that trailer, and you're like, well, this movie looks kind of, because they showed like the Red Band trailer, and so this movie looks interesting. And then I didn't get a chance to see it right away, and then when I finally did, because then the buzz started coming in, like you're hearing like possible like awards and stuff for this movie as it like. Do you think when you shoot this is kind of the generic question everyone asks, but like, do you know that it's going to be kind of a hit, or you're just like, I'm just doing my thing here?
You never know. I mean, from my experience, because I receiving so many no's in my career, I always watch the movies that I auditioned for, and I see who they cast. I'm like, I need to figure out why. Right. I need to figure out what this guy has. And a lot of times that the movies don't turn out the way you think they do in your head, and just because it's a good script, and just because it felt good on set when you acted the scenes, you don't know how it's going to turn out on the other end when it goes through so many filters, and the final product is out of your control. You just have to hope for the best. So I didn't know, but in my heart, I'm like, I feel good about this. I feel really good about this. And when I got this part, there's so many parts of me that I had to just compartmentalize and just leave at the door. Right. Like, I'm like, this is an Asian American love interest in a Hollywood movie. Yeah. When's the freaking last time you saw one of those? Never. And when's the last time an Asian American got this big of a role in a movie? Never. It is like not for a long time. And so I had to put all that stuff at the door. I just got to show up. I just got to do my work and hope for the best. Right. And the way it turned out, man, I cannot ask for a better first movie for people to recognize me from. I'm eternally grateful.
Well, I mean, I don't want to go two routes, but I'll start with this one. Is that so? The movie is very successful in regards to the reception that it gets, and how great of a coming of age story it is, and just in general, like the dynamic, the vibe, the performances, the standouts. What is because before this movie comes out, you're thinking about going back home. You're getting your ass kicked on auditions, and what's it like, the reception afterwards? What's your professional life like right after this thing comes out? Like, what the phone start ringing more? There's more auditions. What happens?
A lot more auditions. Okay. Like I was used to getting maybe 3 or 4 good auditions a year.
Wow.
To getting 3 or 4 auditions a day.
Wow. And then pilot season, obviously.
And pilot season, I experienced my first pilot season.
And for the people who don't know, so pilot season is you correct me on this, too. It's been a long time, but I think it's like starts around like February,
like some late January to late April.
Yeah, and that's when all the orders for like television starts to run in there for a lot of the networks, obviously, and then it's really like when the actors and actresses are going after their piece of the pie.
Imagine a dock full of speedboats, and you don't know which one's going to make it to the island, and you as an actor, you're jumping in these speedboats, rolling the dice, and like, oh, maybe it's this one looks good, and you
just get right, like you said, you're going for the luck of the draw, but now you're getting a ton of them.
A ton of them.
Okay, so what's something you audition for that maybe, like you said, you go and you don't know if you get it or not, but you're like, I wouldn't have gotten that a year ago. I wouldn't have got that audition a year ago.
Yeah, no, there's so many now. Like, everything looks good to me. I'm just hungry. I've been starving this whole time. And I remember the first year after Edge of 17, it was just a matter of adjusting to the new schedule. Like, I have to do so much more work. Whereas before, I'll get an audition notice. I have 3 days to work on 3 pages. Now I have 4 hours to work on 3 pages, and I have to show up and I have to deliver the next day.
And that sharpens your skills.
It sharpened my skills, and it really worked on my actor cardio.
Right. Yeah.
And it was just getting used to that, and also that was another step for me to kind of have this new lifestyle register again. Just like the experience of Edge of 17, having this outer body experience, I'm like, oh my God, now I can't believe I'm getting all these auditions. Now I can't believe I'm in these rooms. And it's so weird walking into these rooms with casting directors, very prominent casting directors, and having them say, "I loved you" in Edge of 17.
Right.
I'm like, casting directors never talk to me like that.
Yeah.
Now they talk to me and they know my work. It's
but isn't that funny how the shift changes like that?
Yeah.
Like that. Because like you're saying, you walk in beforehand and it's like a cattle thing.
Exactly.
And you just feel like, I'm just another face.
Exactly.
I'm going back home. I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
To where it's like, that's Erwin. That's the guy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now I have to adjust to this.
Right.
And it's like my relationship to the game hasn't changed, but I feel like the people in the industry's relationship to me has changed.
Sure.
So that's always a little strange. That takes a little bit of adjusting. It kind of throws me off a little bit. But now, now it's the second year. Since Edge of 17, I feel like I've got my bearings. I feel like my soul and my body have finally caught up with each other, and now I'm one person. And I feel like I've definitely adjusted.
So you get the next big movie again now is Truth or Dare that comes out now too. And like you said earlier, like me, it's not necessarily the movie you're going to go see, but because of the role itself, it was like that's the reason that you took the job for sure, because you don't have to. I mean, you still want to work. Obviously, you want to get the paycheck, but you don't need to take that particular role for the paycheck, because there's a lot of auditions coming in, and you can take the roll of the dice and try to get something else.
For sure.
So you guys see the opening weekend is like the mid-20s. Opening weekend?
Yeah.
Considering the movie, a $2-3 million budget.
$3 million, 3.5, I think.
That's like Blumhouse. It's like that magic touch, man.
Yeah,
it's
man.
Crazy.
They're good.
Well, that was my thing that I had said, and I don't want you to comment on this because I don't want you to get in trouble. But I'm allowed to say these types of things. So my thing with Blumhouse is that I think a lot of times what they do is they put together scripts, and now recently there's been some stuff with like maybe some large, like some let's say more recognized actors, right? And they put and the scripts are different and the premises are different than just the jump scares and the thing that I've seen a billion times. And then when I saw Truth or Dare, and I was like, well, wait a minute, that's they're going back to that. But then you look at the profit that it makes, and you're like, well, that's why they're doing this.
That's why they're doing it.
But then, like I said, and I said it in the same thing, was that I was like, but there's that kid again. I was like, there's that guy again. Wait a minute. And then when Wendy tells me, she's like, well, I'm friends with him. Would you like to talk to him? I'm like, well, fuck yeah, I want to talk to him. Like, let's get in there. Let's go through this, because not only another person that we had in this studio that I think might be one of the funniest individuals of all time is Taika
Waititi.
Dude. That guy,
awesome guy,
natural. So you're doing the show, right? You're doing.
I did a pilot with him.
You did the pilot,
yeah. I did a pilot for What We Do in the Shadows, with him.
So we're waiting to hear, or is it just okay?
We're waiting to hear.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. It's so funny. Like,
can you talk about the role? What your role is?
I can't. Okay. I can't say anything, but. If you're familiar with the movie, the original mockumentary with the 3 vampires, it is still about vampires.
Okay, so we might be able to guess.
Yeah, okay. It's kind of it's something to say, but there's a lot of new things, and is updated with more pop culture references.
So he's producing this. He didn't direct the episode.
He directed the episode.
He did direct the episode.
Yeah, and also produced it. And Jermaine Clement from The Conquest wrote it. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Big fan of those guys.
All right. So tell me about that. So how does tell me as much as you can about that.
I can talk about how it was working with.
That's what I meant. Yeah. Let's talk about that, because I don't want you to get in trouble with the story.
It was so much fun. I felt like we were all just little kids.
Yeah.
Playing with Play-Doh. It was what it was. We went off script so many times. We didn't even follow the script. We just improvised so much that we were writing on the spot, pretty much.
So they didn't care about that because they've done this a million times. It's almost like Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah, like Taika told me that he likes to have way more footage than he needs.
Okay.
We'll do the same scene so many times, and he'll catch something that that we improvise and that he'll like. He's like, now, good. Do that again. Now expand on it, and he'll throw us lines. Now instead of saying this, say this, and it gets funnier and funnier and funnier and funnier. Right. It was so funny to a point where I remember our boom operator put his face in his armpit because he was trying not to laugh. And boom operators are the first ones to get bored on set because they know the lines, they hear it.
Right.
It's the same lines, it's the same performance. They get it. And for a set like Taika Waititi's, every single take is different.
Right.
So if something's going to catch you off guard. And so he was trying so hard not to look at the actors. He turned away from the actors and put his face. I can see him shaking.
I feel like Taika is trying to get people to make him laugh.
Exactly. He's great, super encouraging, and when something's funny, like you can hear him laughing from Video Village.
That's
and
awesome.
It's great. It was such a great set to be on. It didn't feel like work at all. It just felt like we were just there to play, and that's a dream.
Look at what you're doing, man. That's awesome. And then you got so he was working with that guy, and I was in awe of him. Like I was in awe of him because I'm a hard person to please with comedy, and everything out of that dude's mouth. I mean, his timing though, because like I was worried about Thor Ragnarok not because he's directing. That was encouraging to me because his other two movies were so good.
Yeah.
But what I was worried about is, so I don't know how much of like a Marvel and DC, like those, how much like the genre movies you like.
Big Marvel fan.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my thing is like, I liked Guardians of the Galaxy. I didn't like the second one. I thought there was just
I agree.
Too much humor. It was like in the way, and not just because there was too much jokes, but I just felt like I felt like it was like a Shecky Green. Like everybody was just trying to tell jokes, and there was no character to anybody. So I was worried about that when Ragnarok comes out, and it's not that. It's jokey. There's no doubt about it. That's Taika's thing. But there was more to the whole. It fit the story and what they were trying to do because Thor needed to be different because the first two were so like kind of almost getting dreary after that.
Yeah, overly serious.
The second one was So I mean, I'm in awe of that guy. I'm in awe of you now that you got to work with him because like I can't imagine how long was that shoot.
Oh man, it's incredible what he accomplished with 3 weeks. I think not even a month. Yeah, I worked on it for 2 weeks out of 3.
Okay. So he's shopping it around now.
Yeah, to FX.
To FX. Okay, so we're going to see. So that's another one you just like, if it happens, it happens.
Well, if it happens, it happens. Yeah,
right.
Just try to forget about it.
Well, I'm going to go to Vegas with you. I'll tell you that. after hearing these things, you work with Taika. I mean, like, that's after the success that he's having right now, it'd be kind of dopey for FX to pass on it.
I agree. They should pick it up.
They should pick it up. I mean, they need they've had some hits obviously in the past, but why? Yeah, could take a shot.
Of course.
Yeah, man. Something that I'd like to talk to you about, and if you don't want to talk about it, that's fine. Something you had brought up before, and that was two things. One is that with your grandma, you were really close with
her. Very close.
Okay, so and you said that was. Did you have a relationship? Obviously, she also.
She lived in Vancouver, but she's from Hong Kong. Yeah,
okay, and that's where your family.
My family's from Hong Kong.
Hong Kong, and I read that you come from a family of artists.
Dad's a painter. Grandpa was a famous painter. Okay. Great grandpa was a poet, sculptor. Blah 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 blah.
So then, obviously, it makes sense now to where your grandmother was very encouraging and kind of encouraged you in your career.
Well, that's my dad's side had all the artists.
Oh, okay.
And my this grandma is is my mom's mom.
Okay.
But yeah, no, she was always very encouraging. I remember when she was in the hospital and when she was sick and her memory was not that good. Eventually, she like forgot my name, but she'll always have my headshot, posted next to her hospital bed. And whenever I come in, she won't even remember my name sometimes, but she'll remember. You're the superstar. You're the Hollywood actor.
Awesome.
Back when I had nothing but my demo reel.
Right.
You
keep that with you.
Yeah.
Don't see Coco. Did you see Coco?
No.
Don't see Coco. It's great. It's a great film, but I mean, like, see it by yourself. Don't because you'll be in tears.
Okay,
it is. But you mentioned that scene that is literally almost like a scene in Coco.
Is it?
Oh my gosh. It is. So that's what I'm saying. That'll get you in general when you can relate to it and when you have a scenario like you have. But yes, okay. So but again, positive memories, positive enforcement, and then did you feel like kind of when you were going through that process, though, to get back into Erwin mode? Did you kind of feel her with you and kind
of? Absolutely. I'm like, what? I felt like if my grandma was here and she was watching me, she'd want me to do well, and she'd want me to be confident, and she'd want me to let go of all that shit, Yeah. And I made me think about if I was a parent, if I was a grandma, like what would I want for my kids? How would I want them to behave? I don't want them hung up on me.
Sure.
Like
don't
think about that. Go get it. Like, and I imagine that she was, being that cheerleader in the room, And that definitely helped me.
That's great.
Mentally. Yeah,
that's great. And so your family in general, it seems like you're pretty tight with them. And then, like you said, you come from a family artist, so there's no. It's funny because the last two, I just had Dan Fogler on, and I had the great Clancy Brown, and so far, I've had every guest that I've had so far, and this is rare because myself included.
Yeah.
Encouraging parents for the business. A lot of times, I know people, and I've talked to people that are just like, no, my parents wanted me nowhere near acting, but that wasn't the case.
They not that they were extremely supportive. They were expressing worry. You know, they're like, okay, you want to do this, but we want a better answer than you just wanting to be an actor. Why do you want to be an actor? Why do you want to be an artist? It's my dad's thing. You know,
give me a good reason why. I'm saying, but that's what he's saying. That's what
he's saying. He's like, give me a good reason. You know, and I remember it took me a long time to figure out a reason why I wanted to be an actor. He's like, why do you want to be an actor? You want to be famous? Is that what he said? He's like, you want to be an actor because your friends think you're funny, Hayden? And I'm like, no, I want to be an actor because movies helped me. When I was a kid, when I was a depressed little kid in Vancouver, not knowing what I wanted to do with my life, the only escape that I had were from movies like Top Gun, and watching every single like Oscar-nominated movie. And I feel like I have this person in me that can do that kind of thing. And the first time I did high school theater, like it was. I caught the bug, and I was I was like too afraid to tell people that I wanted to do that because I grew up a very Chinese Canadian culture, and the whole school I went to was 90% Asian Canadian.
Okay.
And
is it a big theater presence there, or just kind of small?
No, not really, very small.
It's like Lady Bird.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the expectation was to go into business and be a doctor, like all my friends.
Right.
You know, all my friends' parents were doctors or accountants, and I was from the one family. Right. That happened to be Chinese, that happened to be artistic.
It's like your character. It's like your character in Truth or Dare, but except it's the doctor thing. But instead, you're like, I'm an actor. I'm an actor. I got to come out and tell people I'm an actor.
Exactly. No, I did an interview with Out Magazine, and I didn't even think about it. I'm like, I felt like I had to come out and tell people I wanted to be an artist. And when I did actually get made fun of a lot in school because people just didn't understand.
But not like bullying. Was it bullying?
It was not bullying, but like I'll get teased from my friends.
People being dicks.
Yeah, they're like, why do you want to go to UBC to study theater? Why would you do that? Like you can't. What are you gonna do with that? You know, like why are you trying to take public speaking classes? Like why do you need that? You know, and people just make fun of me that way. So that kind of turned me off. And I remember my parents when and now
they want to come to your premieres.
Now they're experts.
Right.
But I remember telling my mom. I remember again. There's so many these scenes in my life happen when I'm packing bags. And I'm packing my bag to move to LA to go to the New York Film Academy.
I went there also.
You did?
I went to New York Film Academy. This is, a long way. You were probably, I went 98.
Oh wow! What'd you study?
I was in the extensive program to where they just it was like I was at Florida. I was going to Florida State.
Yeah.
And then it was like I want to tell you it was between a 6 to 8 week program. It just crash course everything.
Yeah.
NYFA.
It's so intense.
It was everything. Back then, it was all we were still cutting film. And so, but anyway, sorry. So you did the NYFA.
Yeah. I was packing my bags to go to NYFA, and my mom was like, "Are you sure about this?" You know, and I'm just worried because, there aren't any parts for people like you or us, that look like us, right. and she was expressing a lot of worry in that sense. I'm like, and she's like, why don't you go back to Hong Kong? A lot of you Canadian, Canadian-born Chinese kids, you guys are popular over there. Why don't you do that?
She's not wrong.
She's not wrong either. Yeah. I'm not mad at that. And I told her, I'm like, this is the reason why we don't have that many in America is because we go for what's safe, and that mentality needs to change. More of us need to take risks and go through the whole gauntlet of what it is to be a struggling American actor. Right. I mean, it's iconic. The American struggling actor is very iconic. Sure. Like how, you sleep in your cars, you sleep at the theater, you don't, it's like, I want to go through that. I want to do that stuff. And Thankfully, my parents didn't allow me to sleep in my car and everything. You know what? Like if you take this seriously, we'll support you for as long as we can.
And how long did it take you before you got in? Before the
I was extremely lucky. It was just 3 years after NYFA. 3 years, and that's not a long time compared to a lot of actors that have been here. So I was extremely lucky.
Yeah.
But it's because I listened to my parents, because my parents raised the stakes for me so much. It's like either I do this or I'm going home.
Right.
And it's over, and I don't know what.
You got like a timeline.
And also being here on a visa.
Yeah.
I kick my own ass.
Right.
If I catch myself slacking off, any money that I make from doing background or.
So you're not fucking around like going to like partying.
Hell no.
Okay.
Hell no.
Right. It's all focused. It's you treat it like a straight up job. It's not like because a lot. Look, we're in LA, so there's people. I'm an actor. What have you been in? I'm not really. I don't know. I got a book. So
exactly.
I'm reading scenes, but I'm gonna go out. Let's go get hammered tonight.
Exactly.
Like,
And I watched an interview with Don Cheadle not too long ago, and he's always saying that a lot of people come up to him and say they want to be actors, and then Don Cheadle's like, "What have you been in? What do you work on? Are you working on anything?"
Right.
And he's like, "And you don't have to be in a TV show. You just got to be." You got to behave like one. You got to behave like an actor. You got to watch movies. You got to dissect movies. You got to articulate why a movie's good. You got to articulate why a movie's bad. You got to be reading these plays. You got to be working on your shit, and you can't be soft when we ask you to perform the next day,
Right.
and you got to be on point. And that's what I focused on, I loved LA so much when I first moved here.
Yeah.
And I still do. But I knew that if I wanted to stay in a place like this, with the palm trees and everything. It looks great to a Canadian boy.
Sure.
It looks great. Sure. Sunshine and everything. I knew I had to earn it. So I worked every day, towards that objective. I'm like, to sustain myself to be here. And I got to outwork everybody. I have to. Like a lot of my classmates were going to Disneyland, going to shopping on Rodeo Drive, taking pictures of palm trees. I'm like, yeah, we get it. You're in LA, but I'm here to stay.
Right.
And I got to say, 95% of my friends went home.
Right. Well, it's also because that timeline and the visa and everything, like you said. It's like a ticking thing.
You got to do it. And I got, like, it's not just hard work. It's like, I got lucky too. I mean, I started out with doing commercials and I made quite a bit of money.
Shampoo commercials.
No, didn't make money off that one. Not that one.
Right.
That was.
But commercials have a lot of people. So again, people.
Yeah, I got $20 for that. I think $20 for gas money.
Right.
That's what I got.
But most commercials, so you start doing commercials,
Yeah.
you're making some cash there.
Yeah.
But the thing is, do you start to develop any social life? Because one of the things that you mentioned too, as you go into this school and your friends are making fun of you because you're not going to be a doctor. But do you think like as you are going to school, because similar to I wrote for the WWE for a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and I got to work with The Rock while I was there. And what I was talking to with one of our guys here, John Roca, the reason why The Rock is in everything, and the reason why he's able to sustain the kind of crazy career he has, is because wrestlers do that every day. They're on a house show or they're doing something else. Like they're constantly working.
Yeah.
And he took that with him.
Yes, and I said this to my manager earlier. I'm like, why is Bautista and The Rock, when they wanted to be actors, they're good actors.
Yeah.
It's because they understand work ethic.
Yeah.
And
they took the ethic with them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And being quite into sports myself and being an athlete myself, that's the mentality that you need to have. And it's like the story with Kobe Bryant. They asked him in an interview one time, like, Kobe, why are you the greatest in the world? And it was a funny question.
Yeah.
And Kobe laughed at first and he got all serious and he was like, it's because not everybody trains in the off season, and I train like all year round.
Right.
Even when I'm in LA, I'm away from my family. And I'm in the gym and I'm working out. And so it doesn't matter when it comes to game time, I am 3 years ahead of whoever I'm playing.
Sure. Yeah.
Because you add all that up,
right.
It doesn't matter.
But does and you're right. You're 100% right. That in order to do that, I mean, obviously, and even with that statement from Kobe, there's a lot of sacrifice inside of that one statement alone. Do you find that sacrifices like what you're this will come out blunt and a little prying, but I have to ask because it's relevant. What's your social life like? What's your dating life like? How does that impact it?
It was very. Do you see the movie Whiplash?
Of course. Yeah.
It was kind of like that.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was for me. I felt a little.
So you don't have time for it.
Yeah, I felt a little self-destructive. I felt like anybody was in my wave. I felt like anybody was toxic in my group. I surrounded myself with people with common goals, and that's not an evil thing. That's just how you function in adult life.
Right.
You can't, because you are the average of the 5 people that you hang out with the most. Mm-hmm. That's who you are. Mm-hmm. So I was very careful with those people that I keep around me. And sadly, a couple of my relationships didn't work out.
Did it deter because you were going after what
Because
you were
I was going after what I wanted,
yeah.
and they simply were not as motivated and sharp as I was.
Do you get called selfish in that scenario?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. And then that breakup scene in Whiplash actually happened in my life.
Did it really?
Yeah, wow. I dated a girl in NYFA, and that's what happened. I saw.
How long were you guys going out for?
4 years.
4 years.
4 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we lived together and everything, and I saw that it wasn't going the way that we weren't going the same direction.
Okay.
And it was very sad because I'm like, how do I say this to somebody?
Right.
That we're. It's to say to somebody that I don't think you're going to make it.
Right.
And it's your significant other. It's the hardest thing in the world. And of course, I didn't say that. I just felt like we were not.
Two different directions.
Yeah. Maybe you're going to take a longer time, but I need mine now.
She was selfies with palm trees in L.A.
Something like
sounds
that.
Like
yes.
Yes.
And
right. And then that's nothing wrong with that mentality.
Nothing wrong with that.
Look, the other thing is too very similar for me. Like I mentioned to you, I was doing stand-up. When I was doing stand-up, when I was doing my best, when I was playing colleges and everything too, I was doing stand-up 7 days a week. I was doing 2 to 3 shows a night, and I was dating, but I'm married now with 2 kids. I don't do stand-up anymore. Like the way that I want to do it, I've got to do what you're talking about, and those are the people that you need to succeed. But like you said, you hit bumps there. You hit bumps in your social life and in your love life. Obviously. Yeah. So, all right. So that thing. So then you've got this for you. It doesn't end well then because you got to break it up.
It doesn't end well. It does not end well. But thankfully we've made up.
That's good.
We've talked about it, and we actually talked last year. She came to LA and we had lunch.
Oh, that's good.
And we did talk about that was a good decision. Back then, what we did,
right? And the motion during the time, you're blinded by the feel.
Exactly, it was just not the right chapter in life to do that. In my opinion, we were both struggling, and it was just hard when you bring that kind of energy home. And I felt like I needed really to be alone with this, and it worked out.
It worked out
a year after we broke up, or a year and a half, and Enter 17 happened, and. Life has changed ever since.
Yeah, you're not, so you're not a partier.
No.
Okay. And
I don't like it.
And just because you don't like drinking or
no, not really. It depends. I like going out with like 1 or 2 of my friends, and we just hang out and sit down at a table and we can drink. I just don't like
throw back a beer, watch a game or something.
Yeah. I don't like the loud party scenes, and especially Hollywood parties. I just feel it's not everybody's there with an agenda. It just gives me anxiety.
Right. It keeps you grounded not to do it too.
Yeah,
it seems like not everybody, but it seems like for you that keeps you grounded.
It definitely does, and I'm glad that my life changed in a way that it gave me the option to do it, and I now for sure know that I don't like it.
Right. And that's good. I mean, same thing with me. I did like to party. I did like to. I drank not when I was on stage, but afterwards. I couldn't even have a sip of wine now without getting buzzed because again, 2 kids.
Right.
Like as soon as I'm done with this interview, I'm going to sleep. But I understand what you're talking about, and you're going after it. So what's the focus now? Obviously, it's to work. We know that. But what do you want to do? What's the dream job? Who do you want to meet? Which directors do you want to work with? Like what's the goal?
Well, the goal is to try to maintain this mentality that we just talked about and realize that the game doesn't change. Like we talked about before, it's people's relationship to me has changed, and I can't let that get to my head. And I'm still in it. I'm still doing this because since day one, I love what I do, and I love what movies can do for people and what movies did for me. And I understand that, like myself, when I see another Asian American on screen, I'm especially hard on them. And I bet you Asian Americans are hard on me when they see me on screen, and they expect a certain performance or or quality of work, and I would like
when
to
you
keep
say
that
that,
up.
though, sorry, let me cut you off. When you say that, you mean very similar to what you said when your mom told you, "Why don't you go to Hong Kong?" It's because we need to change the game here. We gotta
change the game.
So that's what when you're talking about being critical, it's more like what's different. They're very similar, like the Truth or Dare role. It's that this is a different role for an Asian American. This isn't just like, oh, he's just one of our friends and he happens to be an Asian American that's going to get killed off in the movie.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what you mean by critical when you're looking at some of these other roles. It's like, how are you changing the game?
How am I changing the game? Like, does this story need to be told and everything? And in terms of
how does Hollywood change the game? Do you think with more diverse roles and do you think that? Obviously, I think there's been a lot more change in the last year.
For sure, a lot.
Now, what do you think? What are some of the more improvements that you think could be made that you hope is made?
Well, I think the goal is to eventually stop saying the word diversity. I think eventually, hopefully, the next generation that grows up would be like, oh yeah, it's cool to a black person, Asian person, white person.
You don't even notice it.
Yeah, you don't even notice it, and we don't have to talk about it anymore. And it's hopefully it'll do that. And and I'm very optimistic with Crazy Rich Asians coming out and Mulan. Edge of 17 was revolutionary for the Asian American community. I think.
Yeah.
And I think as long as we're going down this path and we stay positive. Things are already changing, and we have the troops to fight this battle. Now like you see so many, like you see Ross Butler on 13 Reasons Why, Michelle Celine Ang on 13 Reasons Why, and you see Louis Tan in Into the Badlands. Daniel Wu's been leading that forever.
Last Jedi.
Yeah, and. It's great. It's great to see that that there's so many different types of us that are dominating every single genre, and it's great to see. And I'm extremely happy. And it's just a matter of being able to be proud of other people in your community. Like I genuinely am happy when I don't get something and my friend gets it. And we're in the same category. I'm like, dude, I'm just so glad they kept it Asian.
Right.
I'm like,
you're fighting the same battle.
Yeah, we're fighting the same battle. Right. And it's just the day I realized that there is no competition, And like Bryan Cranston said recently, when you don't get a part, it's like when you find a wallet and you find out the wallet's not yours. It wasn't your wallet.
Right.
It's this guy's wallet.
Right.
It's fine.
Right.
You'll get yours next time, and that's what it is.
So you're a student. You're a total student of the game.
Total student of the game.
Yeah, you watch it all and you listen to all the greats. And I like that. I like that. It's smart.
It's how I can function.
Yeah.
To listen to the greats. Yeah.
Sure. So and in a good way. I say this in a positive way. It kind of dominates you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
In the Edge of 17, the crew, you keep all those relationships. Do you keep relationships well? Do you keep in contact with people, or is it just like that was a job, and if we happen to match back up, or are you texting people? Like how does that?
It's doing movies like that. Like you don't. It's great. Mm-hmm. A lot of times when you do make friends on set,
it's like summer camp.
It's exactly like summer camp. I still keep in touch with Blake. Okay. Who plays brother Darian?
He was supposed to come in here to play movie trivia.
Really?
So we have a show called Movie Trivia Schmodown. It's like it's movie trivia meets like wrestling. To where we combine the two of it. And so his this guy Jason Dolan, who's producer on one of his movies, did a movie with him. And they were going to come in and be a team. It just didn't work out. But anyway, so sorry. So you keep in touch with Blake? Yeah,
I keep in touch with Blake, and I got him into boxing. So he goes to the
Did
box.
You box?
I box, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, since I was a teenager.
Oh, very cool.
But I got him into boxing, and he's been addicted ever since for a couple of years now.
Mm-hmm.
So I see him at the gym a lot. He went out and saw Truth or Dare last night with a bunch of friends. He's extremely supportive. I talked to Hailee Lu sometimes. Haven't kept in touch with Stenfield.
How'd you guys get along on set?
We got along very well, and I think it showed on screen.
Yeah, it did. But sometimes it doesn't. I mean, there are people who got. I mean, look at Bruce Willis and Sybil Shepherd.
Yes. And it's I mean, we aren't like BFFs,
right?
But we work together very well, and I have nothing but good things to say about her. She's great. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So all right. So then, like you said, so you and maybe you link back up down the road somewhere too.
Hopefully, yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to work with her again.
The boxing thing is, I was a big boxing fan when I ran a boxing league in college. But are you a fan of the sport, like as far as actual watch? Okay,
for sure.
What about MMA? MMA also?
MMA is like more new for me. Conor McGregor actually made me respect the sport a lot more.
Because
the finesse and the way he fights. Sure. You know, I remember when the UFC first started, it was just. There was no weight class. No. People were just
93
barbaric.
Yeah.
You know, there was no finesse. It was just whoever overpowers who.
It was a kumite almost. So 93 is when it started, but then when Dana and the brothers got it, and they switched it up because it was illegal in New York for the longest time.
Yeah.
But they turned it into that sport. It was. I started kind of getting into it because I was more of a boxing guy, and then in 2005 is when the Ultimate Fighter started.
Yes.
And and I was like, well, wait, this is more. They're treating this like a sport with the weight classes and everything too, and it's just kind of evolved. My problem with boxing, as where I think UFC doesn't have that problem, is it's the WBC, the IBF, there's too many. There's no one big thing. The UFC is if you're ranked if you're the champion, you got to fight number one.
Yes.
You can't puss around and like, well, they're not getting enough money here in the IBF. They don't give a shit about those belts.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's our boxing podcast. We'll do We'll do a boxing podcast down the line. But dude, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. I learned a lot about you here today too, and I'm sure they have also. But I would love to actually. Before I let you go, I want to talk to you because you said you're a movie fan too. What's some of your Marvel guy? So you looking forward to the Avengers?
Yeah. For sure. I was pretty excited. I heard rumors that they're going to kill off prominent Avengers in this one. I'm like, uh-oh.
People thinking Cap. What do you think?
I mean, in the comic books.
Yeah, that's what kind of why.
Yeah, so I'm like, are they going to go that route? I don't know. And it looks pretty grim for him in the trailer when Thanos was gripping onto his arm, I think, and it didn't look good.
Well, even in Ultron, when they did when Tony's having those flashes,
he sees Cap and the shattered shield and everything. Like, ooh.
So who do you think? You think Cap's gone?
Cap, probably, right?
I
think he has a good chance of. I mean, it also makes sense.
Yeah, and Bucky takes over.
Probably,
yeah,
like the comic books.
Yeah,
and I think that would be a smart storytelling move to remove Captain. I mean, he's Captain.
Yeah.
So what happens if you lose your Captain? I mean, the whole thing about Infinity War is about the Avengers, losing their shit. Right. So to lose Captain. I think that'll set it up to be very interesting to who's going to take the lead. Is it? I can see Bucky and Tony Stark not getting along.
I think they got to get over it though at this point because Civil War. I think we got that. I think Tony's going to be the most distraught about it, and I actually think it'll be Bucky who gets him in line because of it. Because they're
that'd be great.
It would make sense for the evolution of the characters.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, we know that they've got their beef, and we know everything that happened in Civil War, but we've seen that already.
Yeah,
and it's like let's see what happens with the two of those guys when they're really tested. But what I love is that because what makes sense. Did you like Black Panther?
I did
because I think that I love Black Panther, and I think that they're really leading with that in the trailers as they should, the same way that they leaned with Wonder Woman after the success of that film. Yeah. But I want to see how that all plays out. Wakanda plays into it,
Yes.
So
yes,
that's all right. So that one's you're looking forward to. Any other movies you're really looking forward to coming out this year? Whether they're blockbusters or Oscar movies, anything that's coming out.
What else is coming out? Like,
you got are you a Star Wars guy at all?
Solo.
I
don't know. I'm on the fence about Solo. I mean, I'm going to see it for Woody.
Sure. Right.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about it.
Okay.
There's so many Star Wars stories, and I try to focus on the ones that are canon.
Yeah.
But this one, it's going to be interesting. I'm interested in seeing.
You mean the saga ones, or as far as
the saga ones?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I liked Rogue One.
Okay.
A lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm definitely going to check it out, but I don't know what to expect yet.
Right.
I'm not overhyping it in my head.
That's
what
fair.
I will say.
Okay, well, dude, listen, man, you come back. We got to do this again because
hell yeah.
And if you and I don't know what your movie trivia skills are, maybe we'll get you in that.
I would love to.
We'd love to get you.
Sounds
in that
fun.
Right?
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much for joining us. Check him out. And Truth or Dare is still in theaters, guys, right now. So check that out. And keep your fingers crossed for. I want that the Shadow show to get.
Yes.
It's got to get picked up. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much for joining us on this show. Thanks again to Hayden, and we'll talk to you next time. That was it. That was the interview. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're joining us for the first time on Collider Video, hit that subscribe button, like, comment, do all that stuff. And remember, this is also on iTunes. If you're listening to iTunes right now, pull over and then rate it. Subscribe it, do all that stuff. Hit pause on the treadmill for a second and let us know what you think about these shows, and we will continue to make more of them. You can find all your favorite shows from Collider on iTunes on the Collider Podcast Network. Thank you very much. See you next time.